Millionaire follows her nanny after work, and what she discovered changed everything forever. Megan sat in her immaculate kitchen, the soft glow from the pendant lights highlighting the contrast of her pristine life against the taunting whispers of self-doubt spiraling within. At 33, she felt the weight of expectations bearing down on her like an anvil, each sound of laughter from her children upstairs becoming a reminder of the armor she wore so carefully: success clothed in privilege. A thriving startup, a home adorned with tasteful art, and two adoring children. On the surface, she had everything. But lurking beneath was the question that gnawed at her spirit: was she enough? Tonight, Olivia, the devoted nanny, was still out with the kids. Megan's eyes narrowed as she glanced at the clock, irritation mixing with unease. What kept her so late? Was it simply the demands of the children, or was there something more? Despite the urgent pressure to join the social elite scrapping for attention from their high-spirited engagements, she felt a restless pull to understand Olivia's life beyond the glossy surface. Megan grabbed her purse, her heart racing as she wrestled with indecision. On one hand, she felt the constrictions of societal norms. On the other, a fierce curiosity ignited within her. As she slid into her car, the familiar anxiety twisted in her gut like a festering wound. What would she find that night? Would she discover a lack of gratitude in Olivia, or perhaps something that reflected her own vulnerabilities? It was a dangerous pathway. The end could expose cracks too deep to ignore. When Megan followed Olivia through the narrow streets, the rhythmic sounds of bustling Boston shifted her thoughts. Murmurs of families filled the air, echoing a sense of grittiness compared to her curated suburbia. She felt disconnected, an intruder navigating streets that felt less like home and more like foreign terrain. The fluorescent lights of a small community center cast harsh shadows on Olivia's silhouette, her figure outlined against the vibrant backdrop of restless children. The unexpected sight jolted Megan. She had only seen Olivia in the confines of cheerful playdates and picnics. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. What she discovered shattered every preconceived notion. Olivia, the devoted caregiver, had transformed into a fierce advocate, her passionate voice teaching English to shy children. Each word a lifeline, a promise of hope for futures her own children had never known. A surge of admiration soared through Megan, instantly entwining with insecurity, unwillingly admitting she must bow to her children's privacy. Megan felt guilty and also a sense of relief among the regret. Guilt. She had assumed Olivia was simply there to meet their needs, yet this hidden life was filled with grit and purpose, suddenly illuminating her own sheltered existence. Megan felt the pressure rise within her, pulses quickening against a newfound reality. Hours spent curating her place in the world suddenly felt trivial compared to the impact Olivia was having. The whispers of her society, echoing expectations, now sounded stifling. Her desire for acceptance clashed violently with the desire to support Olivia in this worthy cause. But at what cost? Torn between preserving her perceived social standing and diving headfirst into this newfound connection, she grappled with choices that loomed larger than life. As her breath quickened amidst the trembling revelations, the sight of Olivia, a resilient force in a world fraught with disparity, catalyzed a fierce internal battle. Just as their lives began intertwining, a distant, desperate call broke the spell. Olivia faced a family emergency, the tightrope between their worlds becoming a tumultuous void. In those moments, Megan's heart raced, questioning if she could bridge the chasm of privilege that kept them apart. Could stepping forward mean losing everything? Caught in a swirling cyclone of loyalty and fear, uncertainty set in. The question flickered like a fading light as Megan stood on the precipice of change. Would she embrace this connection or let fear keep them worlds apart? The weight of her decision resonated, leaving her poised for transformation, yet paralyzed with apprehension. The clock ticked toward an unknown future, and the world they inhabited felt both alarmingly close and painfully out of reach. Megan stood on the curb, the vibrations of the city pulsing in her chest, the glow of the community center casting a harsh reality against the lavish world she had cultivated. With Olivia gone and uncertainty wrapping around her like a shroud, she felt a strange mix of isolation and urgency. There was no denying it. She had been consumed by a narrative so tightly knit that any deviation terrified her. But in that moment, as the echoes of children's laughter filled the night air, she had a choice. Her mind raced with questions, reflecting the dissonance between her carefully curated life and Olivia's unfiltered stalwartness. What was it that made Olivia leap into the fray while she merely hovered on the fringes, pretending all was well? Could she harness that bravery? The stark contrast of their lives loomed large, igniting a small yet fierce fire within Megan, one that demanded acknowledgement, exploration, and perhaps confrontation. Driven by a sudden resolve, Megan shifted direction, walking toward the community center's entrance. Behind those doors, a world was flourishing, where her children's nanny was defining her life on her own terms. What had once been a mere fascination became a need to understand. As she stepped inside, the warm air hummed with voices, laughter, and the scratch of chalk on blackboards. Each sound tugged at her heartstrings, and here she reframed her perspective, not as an outsider, but as someone wanting to engage with this undeniable pulse of life. Slowly, she began mingling among the parents awaiting their children, noticing the proud glances exchanged among them while discussing the evening's progress. What more could she learn? A quick adjustment of her posture, a tilt of her head, and she began to listen, not just with her ears, but with her heart. As conversations unfolded, she grasped their struggles, dreams, and the relentless pursuit of a better life. One built on the same ideals she had abandoned long ago in pursuit of superficial validation. Amidst these revelations, feelings she had buried so deep began to stir, surfacing memories of her own humble beginnings. The ambition she once cherished appeared stifled now, caught in the quicksand of wealth and expectation. Megan recognized a longing, an almost desperate need to reclaim that part of herself, a chance to truly discover who she was beneath the layers of polish. Driven by this awakening, Megan approached a table cluttered with books and colorful drawings. It felt vital, almost instinctive. She picked up a handful of papers featuring vibrant sketches created by the children. Each one told a story, each one reflecting potential evolving amidst obstacles. Could she bring even a fraction of that energy into her own life? She turned the ideas over in her mind like cherished trinkets, envisioning how to weave them into her own reality. As the door swung open and children burst into the hall, their joy radiated into the room, positioning Megan at a crossroads. What if engaging with this dynamic community would lead her to the roots of fulfillment she had unknowingly severed? With every ounce of her being caught between two worlds, the urgency grew. The stakes shifted. This was not merely about Olivia or the children, but about rediscovering herself, reigniting the dreams she had layered beneath the polished veneer of wealth. What if I could help? She whispered to herself, a lingering thought now sparking into a plan. Just as she stood ready to approach Olivia, a voice interrupted her thoughts. "Excuse me, do you know Olivia?" Megan turned, heart racing, realizing that this moment would decide whether she remained in her gilded cage or stepped boldly into a chaotic yet promising new reality. The time had come to confront the question that lingered as a shadow against everything else. What would it truly take to embrace this connection? Megan's pulse quickened, not solely from the unexpected interruption, but from the overwhelming decision before her. "Yes, I know, Olivia," she managed, her voice steady despite the turmoil within. She studied the newcomer, a woman with thoughtful eyes and a comforting smile, radiating an effortless warmth that contrasted sharply with the pretensions of Megan's own world. "Hi, I'm Jessica," the woman said, extending her hand. "Olivia speaks so highly of you and your little one. I hope you don't mind me asking," but she hesitated, her gaze flickering between curiosity and respect. "What brings you here tonight?" Megan's initial instinct was to shrivel beneath the question, to retreat into the safety of her carefully crafted image. But the energy pulsing through the community center emboldened her. "I'm just exploring, I suppose," she said, the words escaping like a small act of defiance against her former constraints. "Exploring is a good start," Jessica encouraged, a knowing smile gracing her lips. "We could always use more hands around here. Kids and art, they bring out the best and deepest parts of us, no?" Her words nestled within Megan, igniting that small fire of courage once more. Could she? A thought half formed, half dream. Could she truly step into a role that stretched beyond mother, wife, or friend? "What type of help do you need?" she asked, surprised at herself for being so direct. Jessica's enthusiasm surged as she explained the various initiatives they were trying to organize. "We have tutoring sessions, art classes, and even community gardening. All the kids participate, and we could really use guidance for the art program. It's a chance for them to express themselves, you know?" Megan's heart raced at the prospect. Art, the very thing she had suppressed, convinced herself it didn't fit within the tapestry of her glossy life. The idea bloomed in her mind, alluring and intimidating. "Art has always been something special to me," she admitted, the words slipping out nearly involuntarily. There it was, the dormant passion lying just beneath the surface, aching for recognition. What if? Could she be that bridge between the children's unfiltered creativity and the structured world she had mastered? "Then you should definitely join us," Jessica urged, and there was an earnestness in her voice that struck a chord deep within Megan. "You won't regret it. We can't do this without passionate souls willing to be vulnerable with our kids." As the conversation flowed, Megan felt a dawning realization that had been eluding her. Her life had been encased in glass, appearing beautiful yet hollow. She had been yearning for authenticity, and here was an opportunity to uncover it, not merely for her benefit, but for the children who lacked guidance and the freedom to explore their own identities. "Maybe I will come by next week," Megan said cautiously, the seeds of commitment taking root. The concept of transformation, however daunting, shimmered before her like a promise. But just as hope took hold, doubt wormed its way back in. What would her friends say? How would her husband react? The fear of judgment weighed heavy, yet within the turmoil was a flicker of resolve igniting against it. "Megan," Jessica pressed gently, sensing her hesitation, "it's not about them. It's about you finding out what you want to be, beyond titles like mother or wife. It's your time." The words echoed as Megan chewed on them, wrestling with the implications and the shift toward action. Then a familiar voice broke through the mental fog. "Megan!" Olivia's voice called, thick with surprise as she approached, a hint of wariness shadowing her features. "What are you doing here?" Megan's stomach twisted, the weight of her implications suddenly felt like a fragile balloon ready to pop under pressure. As Olivia's piercing gaze bore into her, Megan murmured, "I'm just—" and the reality sank in. She was on the verge of reconciling her fractured identity, a dangerous yet alluring leap toward authenticity. The convergence of two worlds stood before her, and as tension filled the space, the question crystallized in her mind, sharp and unmistakable. Would she choose a path leading to self-discovery or retreat to the comfort of her polished prison? Megan felt like she was underwater, her surroundings blurring as Olivia's expectations pressed down on her. She had always been the dutiful friend, the devoted wife, but this moment swelled with the possibility of breaking free. In a voice tinged with uncertainty, she said, "I'm just—" and the reality sank in. She was on the verge of reconciling her fractured identity. A dangerous yet alluring leap toward authenticity. The convergence of two worlds stood before her, and as tension filled the space, the question crystallized in her mind, sharp and unmistakable. Would she choose a path leading to self-discovery or retreat to the comfort of her polished prison? Megan felt like she was underwater, her surroundings blurring as Olivia's expectations pressed down on her. She had always been the dutiful friend, the devoted wife, but this moment swelled with the possibility of breaking free. In a voice tinged with uncertainty, she said, "I'm just exploring some opportunities." Olivia narrowed her eyes and crossed her arms, her posture defensive. "Opportunities?" The word lingered in the air, heavy with expectation. "Is that really what you want, Megan?" The question stabbed at her. Did she even know what she wanted? The thoughts cascaded through her mind in a frenzy. What was an opportunity for her anymore? The polished life of brunches and charity galas had dulled her passion. Seeking something beyond those polished edges startled her, yet also exhilarated. "Do you really think you'll find fulfillment here?" Olivia's skepticism wrapped around her words like a stranglehold. "You're a mother, a wife. That's a pretty full plate already." Megan felt the anger ignite, an emotion she often suppressed. Is it so wrong to want more, to be more? Her pulse quickened again, but this time it was fueled by an inner fire. The freedom Jessica exuded, the energy of the children, their laughter echoed in her memory and dared her to challenge the status quo. Wasn't there a part of her still alive that craved to create, to uplift? "You don't have to get caught up in something that's not your world. It's okay to stick to what's safe," Olivia insisted, leaning in a little closer. "I'm not sure safe is where I belong anymore, Olivia." Megan caught herself almost shouting. The force of her emotions surprised her, leaving a dizzying thrill in its wake. "I've been a part of your world for so long, but what about what I need? I wouldn't be leaving you behind. I'd be finding myself." Olivia's expression shifted, disbelief mixing with concern. "And what if you fail? What if it's a disaster? You have so much to lose," she countered, her tone softening, revealing a friend's worry. "Maybe I need to risk it," Megan replied, her voice now steadied by conviction. She felt the weight of her life, once so tightly wrapped up in others, begin to shift. The hollow core where her artistic soul had once thrived started to resonate with possibilities. "I never thought you'd consider doing something so different," Olivia sighed, her stance loosening slightly. "But I guess," she hesitated, "if this is what you truly want, then you should follow through. Just be careful." Instead of the relief she expected, Megan's heart tightened at her friend's reluctant acceptance. "I don't know if I'll be good at it." Her voice nearly faltered again, uncertainty creeping back in. "What if I embarrass myself in front of these kids?" "Every new venture has its risks," Olivia encouraged, a hint of warmth returning. "You might even discover that you have talents you never knew existed." The prospect of awakening dormant abilities lit a flicker of excitement within Megan. She gazed around the bustling room, filled with laughter, eager faces, and vibrant colors of creativity that beckoned her to step forward. "Maybe I'll surprise myself," she whispered, a thought solidifying in her mind. "Maybe this is a journey worth pursuing." As she breathed in the atmosphere around her, a vision of herself guiding children's artistic endeavors, of paint-splattered hands and joyful expressions, began to crystallize. It was daunting yet exhilarating. The conversation hung in the air like a warning of a storm brewing. She felt Olivia's gaze heavy on her back, weighing the choice she was about to make. But in that heaviness, she found strength. "All right," Megan exhaled, resolution filling her voice. "I'll be here next week, and I will do my best." As she turned to face Olivia, ready to share her newfound resolve, the familiar strain of doubt pulled at her. Stepping into the light meant stepping away from the shadows, and shadows were something she had always known how to navigate. "Just remember, Megan," Olivia called after her, a lingering note of caution layered with hesitance, "there'll be challenges." With each step Megan took, a fresh stake of commitment anchored itself within her. This was a threshold. Crossing it meant embracing the unknown. Then, amidst her growing determination, a tiny flicker of doubt threatened to illuminate her fears once more. What if this particular path led her further into the delusions that had constrained her? As she ascended her internal staircase of courage, she realized one truth looming larger than the rest. What awaited her on the other side could either illuminate her world or plunge it back into darkness. After all, was she truly ready to discover who she was without the safety net of her everyday roles? And just as she gathered the courage to face that truth, an unexpected call from her husband interrupted her thoughts, shattering the fragile bubble she had built around herself. Megan stood in the quiet of her living room, the phone still vibrating against the marble surface of the coffee table. She had been preparing herself for the change ahead, mentally piecing together a vision that had begun to bloom in her mind, when the interruption jolted her back into the familiar chaos of her family life. With a sigh, she answered, "Hello?" The moment the word left her lips, she felt the shift, an immediate grounding in the routine she had long found stifling. "Megan, I need to discuss something important with you." Ben's voice came through, purposeful yet tinged with a hint of uncertainty. She often tried to remind herself that she had the freedom to create her own narrative, but here was her husband, the anchor of her past choices. "What's going on?" she asked, trying to keep her tone steady, even as her heart began to race. "I know I've been busy," he admitted. "Things at the office have gotten out of hand, and I haven't been as present. I understand the kids need me, and you need support, especially since you're thinking about—" He paused, sensing the weight of what lay unspoken between them. "Opportunities," she added, surprising even herself with the steadiness of her voice. "Yes, opportunities. I want to help you feel confident about moving forward. Maybe you could take some time away, embrace this creativity you've mentioned." His suggestion hung in the air, almost innocuous yet packed with implications. Megan's breath caught. This was entirely unexpected. Ben had always valued stability, favored the safety of predictability. What would it mean for him to encourage her to chase a path filled with unknowns? "Why the change now?" she asked, her voice edged with caution. "Just last week you said you didn't think I should take any risks outside my duties at home." "Look," he said, exhaling slowly, "I see you. I've seen the spark in your eyes when you talk about the kids and the projects you're dreaming of. You deserve to explore that, Meg." His words ignited a cautious optimism within her, but just as swiftly, anxiety constricted it. The idea of stepping out into the world, unchained but raw, stirred a tremble deep inside. Yes, creativity beckoned, yet the path of uncertainty never brought guarantees. "I appreciate that, but I'm still scared," she confessed, her voice dipping into the vulnerable. "What if I fail? What if I'm just not good enough?" "What if you are?" His tone shifted, maintaining a thread of belief. "You won't find out until you try. What's life without a little risk?" She swallowed hard against her lingering doubts, feeling a storm of conflicting emotions swirl within. Here was Ben, inviting her to take a leap into the unknown. Would he truly be supportive if she stumbled? Ben, the hesitation tasted bitter. What if I take this risk and it ruins everything? What if I find this new identity and it means... Means what? He prodded, his voice softening. Means you change? We change? Megan, you deserve to pursue something that brings you joy. I want us to grow together. The tenderness in his words cut through the smog of fear that had begun to settle. Could he be right? Did this mindset really mean growth, not just for her, but for them both? In that moment, Megan felt the urgency of her desire to leap, to embrace her own worth, apart from the roles she had played. Okay, she finally said, resolve rattling, nerves yet burning bright. I'm going to do this. I'll take that leap, not just for me, but for us. Great, Ben replied, enthusiasm slipping into his tone. Let's set aside time this weekend to discuss how to make this work. As she hung up the phone, echoes of her conversation whirled through her mind, creating a cacophony of possibility. The moment started to feel pivotal. The lines of her established life began to blur with new visions. A world filled with colors, laughter, and the budding confidence to create and inspire. Yet, even as anticipation coursed through her veins, doubt loomed nearby. What would her next steps be? And could she manage the duality of her old and new self? With unyielding determination, she turned toward the kitchen, where her children's laughter filtered through, splashing her with the warmth of home. As silence fell behind her, she knew she wasn't just stepping into something outside herself. She was beginning to discover the woman she could become. In that moment, she felt the first stirrings of courage, the kind that dared her to confront the foundation of her existence head-on. And as she prepared to share this journey with her family, a single thought pierced through the haze of uncertainty. What if the risk itself was the key to unlocking her true self, hidden beneath the layers of expectation and routine? With that, Megan set her sights on the weekend ahead, her mind racing with plans and possibilities, ready to encounter what awaited her beyond the boundaries of her former life. Would she finally uncover the artist inside and transform her fears into bold actions? Megan woke early that Saturday, sunlight spilling through the kitchen windows and warming the room like a promise. The smell of coffee mingled with breakfast, swirling into her senses and urging her to embrace the day. This moment was different. It felt momentous, not just another Saturday consumed by laundry and chores. Today, she would take tangible steps toward the dream ignited by her conversation with Ben. She sat at the table with a notebook, the blank pages staring back at her like an undiscovered realm. What should she put down? Ideas rushed through her mind, children's stories, DIY projects, even art styles she had admired. Megan had spent years piecing together the inhabitant of Mom, but now pondered the mere idea of Megan. Who was she beyond her roles? Could she take the scattered fragments of her existence and form something beautiful out of them? After her family breakfast, filled with chaotic laughter and playful bickering, Megan felt the weight of her decision pressing against her. It wasn't just about striving to be an artist or pursuing a passion. It meant embracing the unknown, hoping and creating the space for both success and potential failure. Could she carve out time for her ambitions without compromising her family's needs? "Mom, can you help me with this?" Her youngest, Lucy, interrupted her thoughts. "Of course, honey," Megan replied. She also wanted to teach Lucy something invaluable: the permission to chase dreams and ideas fearlessly. After the dishes were washed and the kids occupied, Megan found herself alone, the echoes of their laughter reverberating softly around her. Her heart quickened as she opened her notebook again, drawing a horizontal line across the top of the page. Underneath, she wrote, "My vision." This was it, the boundaries of her inner world crumbling as she boldly outlined her aspirations. She structured plans, tentative yet brimming with promise. What if she designed a project that inspired children to explore their creativity? Something interactive, perhaps. Each hesitation was met with a counter-assertion from deep within her, pushing her to rise against her long-held doubts and redefine what she could achieve. As the hours wore on, Megan immersed herself in brainstorming. The weight of her past decisions began to lift, replaced by sensations of potential and the thrill of creation. Ideas flowed freely, each of them a brushstroke in the canvas of her future. Then, almost instinctively, she turned to the back page of the notebook, the page marked for personal reflections. Here, she allowed herself to unearth her fears. What if she put herself out there and felt utterly inadequate? What regarding Ben's initial doubts? Would they return if her endeavors began to strain their dynamics? She found herself questioning everything. Was she really equipped to balance both her newfound ambitions and her family life? But as she pressed on, a determined voice emerged. "You owe it to yourself to try, regardless of the outcome," she wrote. "This isn't just about art, it's about authenticity." Writing those words felt like a confession, a declaration of her desire to live truthfully rather than merely exist. By the time noon approached, her heart was racing. She felt something awaken inside her, an urgency that hinted at transformation. As she shoved the notebook back into her bag, there was no turning back now. She had committed to an exploration of her capabilities. "Breathe," Megan whispered to herself, steadied by the thought of change. When she finally shared her dream with Ben later that evening, the nervousness dripped from her words. "I've been thinking," she began, heart pounding as he closed the book he was reading. "I want to start a project, maybe something for kids, to inspire them through creativity." For a moment, silence enveloped the room. Then she saw it. The spark in Ben's eyes mirrored the one she had felt as she wrote. Could he be proud of her, genuinely? "Let's make it happen, Meg. What do you need?" he asked. And in that instant, the weight of her fears melted. Here was her partner ready to embrace the unfamiliar alongside her. Just as they began to strategize, the phone rang, breaking the fragile intimacy of the moment. Megan answered, but it was someone from her past, an old friend who had been a source of inspiration for her art endeavors in college. As they spoke, the conversation morphed into an inquiry about an upcoming exhibition. Megan's pulse quickened. This could be the chance she had been teasing herself about. The conversation ended with a question lingering heavy in the air. Would she dare to showcase her work? Vision and reality collided. Megan had a choice to make. Would she embrace this opportunity or retreat into self-doubt? As anticipation and anxiety tangled within her, the foundation she had only begun to lay felt precarious yet exhilarating. At that moment, she understood. It was no longer about just her. It was about the person she was becoming. The weekend of possibilities stretched ahead, ready to be navigated. But would she seize the chance to leap forward, confronted by the challenge ahead? There was only one way to find out. Megan stood at the precipice of something monumental. The whirlwind excitement that hung in the air was palpable. Her heart raced, not just with the fear that accompanied potential failure, but with the thrill of direction, purpose, ignited by the possibility of expression. As she shuffled through her notes, her mind swam with half-formed ideas that danced like fireflies against the dim backdrop of doubt. The conversation with her friend echoed in her mind, a siren call demanding her attention. An exhibition would mean revealing herself in ways she hadn't dared for years. The idea of her artwork hanging in a gallery, juxtaposed against countless other creative pieces, sent spindles of anxiety coursing through her. What if they didn't appreciate her work? What if those who critiqued her recognized her past insecurities and used them to amplify her self-doubt? With each passing moment, she felt the urgency to act sharpen.
Those fleeting moments of creativity could evaporate if she didn't commit. Her vision had to translate from paper to reality, and yet the nagging question clenched deep in her gut. Was she ready for this? In a breathless moment, she finally asked herself what she needed to move forward. More than anything, she required focus. Would dipping her toes back into the art world lead her to greater fulfillment or further plunge her into chaos? "Megan, are you still there?" Ben's concerned voice pulled her back to the present. She hadn't answered him. His eyes held hers, a mirror reflecting both pride and inquiry. It was time to embrace authenticity, perhaps the most challenging art form of all. "Yes," she exhaled, steadying herself. "I need to set up a timeline. I want to create 2 or 3 pieces that can show who I am." Her pulse quickened. The planning and execution were important, but a shroud of fear still lingered over her heart. Ben nodded, smiles flickering across his face. "Let's actually make a day out of it, a family art day. The kids might inspire some ideas." While his enthusiasm was infectious, Megan felt the familiar weight of guilt creep in. Would her family's needs, playdates, snacks, school projects squeeze her creative time away? But this was also about teaching them resilience.
Of passion. Perhaps they could work together, igniting not only her creativity, but theirs as well. "We can have a dedicated art hour each weekend," she offered quickly, the resolve hardening within her. "They could help me with ideas, even create pieces of their own." "Perfect," Ben's smile widened. "It's a deal." As they fleshed out their plan, her confidence simmered just below the surface. Ideas sprouted, and she found herself sketching wildly, not just on the notebook, but in her mind. Inner visions forming connections with each other. Children's joy reflecting in colors that sprang from a canvas. Later that night, Megan settled on the couch with her notebook. The pages filled with fragments, phrases, drawings, little sparks of inspiration that ignited her spirit. There was one sketch in particular, a little girl surrounded by a garden of colors, her hands a swirl of paint, embodying the essence of exploration and creativity. But just as she felt settled, the shadow of doubt crept back. What if Ben didn't understand her need to pour herself into this project? What if he thought her aspirations were frivolous? Perhaps they were merely the remnants of an adolescent fantasy clashing against adult obligations. "Megan," she murmured to herself, "this is your voice, your story to tell." The mantra resonated, amplifying her resolve. She would dissect every worry, challenge every impossibility until she unearthed the truth of how to balance her identity as a mother and an artist. However, her clarity was interrupted by a message, a notification pinging through on her phone. The art exhibition details flashed across the screen, a contrast to the intimate world she desired to create at home. The question rang loud and clear. Would she engage fully? The world of art beyond her living room walls would collapse into her personal urgency. The moment felt pivotal, almost entrapping her desires into a duel. Would she pursue this opportunity to share her journey with others, potentially sacrificing the focused time with her family she had just claimed? Or would she cling tightly to the world she was constructing? Standing at this crossroads, she felt her heart thud as she wrestled with the possibilities that stretched before her. What would she ultimately choose to define her path? Would some sacrifices lead her to more profound growth, or would they simply become another layer of confusion? As the quiet night cloaked her in uncertainty, one undeniable thought emerged. This was only the beginning. The art of choice was being refined, her identity still waiting to be shaped. But would she dare to paint her canvas with both light and shadow? Or would fear dictate her strokes yet again?
Megan awoke the next morning with the sun streaming through her window, illuminating her chaotic studio space. The thought of the exhibition loomed large, a specter that refused to vacate her mind. She picked up her sketchbook, the pages inviting yet daunting, filled with volatile creativity waiting to be unleashed. As she flipped through her drawings, Megan noticed the stark contrast between her work and the perfect, polished images circulating on social media. How did other artists achieve such professionalism? Did they lack the same doubts that tangled her thoughts into knots? It was a maddening comparison that left her feeling fragmented and uncertain. With a breath that felt heavy in her chest, she set aside the notion of comparison and opened her laptop instead. Perhaps starting with research would ease her into this process. Exploring successful artists' journeys might provide insight or inspiration, something to counter her internal storm. Flipping through articles and personal anecdotes, she found herself resonating with artists who had once felt trapped under the weight of societal expectations. One particular story struck a chord: a woman who had walked away from a lucrative corporate career to pursue her passion for painting. The narrative highlighted not just the artist's professional choices, but her personal evolution as well. So much of it mirrored Megan's journey. The struggle to balance responsibilities while carving out time for expressive freedom. The notion of abandoning all she had built felt like a betrayal, yet the yearning for something deeper urged her on. Filled with fresh enthusiasm, Megan picked up a brush and began her work on the first piece for the exhibition, a canvas filled with vivid colors that echoed her emotions. Each stroke was cathartic, a release of tension as she poured her anxieties directly onto the canvas. The little girl she had sketched the night before danced in her mind, and Megan drew from the whimsical nature of childhood alongside the weight of adult expectations. Hours passed, lost in the rhythm of paint and inspiration, until Ben's cheerful voice broke through, calling her to lunch. Their children jumped in excitement, pulling her temporarily back into the everyday reality of nurturing and caretaking. As they shared pizza, laughter surrounded them, and for a moment doubt dared not intrude. But it swiftly returned as she watched her children excitedly chatter. Would her artistic ambitions steal from these moments? The guilt gnawed at her resolve, eroding the excitement cultivated during her work. "Megan?" Ben's quizzical tone drew her attention. "You seem a bit distant today. What's on your mind?" Everything spilled out, her aspirations, fears, and the shadow of guilt wrestling for dominance. Ben listened, his face a mix of concern and curiosity. "You deserve this, Megan. You were an artist long before you became a mom, and honestly, it would be amazing for the kids to see you pursue your dream." His words resonated, igniting a flame she thought had extinguished. The opportunity to model resilience to her children wasn't just about balancing art with motherhood. It was weaving both identities together into a richer tapestry. She decided to reclaim the narrative, so she concluded their lunch with a new promise. "After lunch, I'm dedicating tomorrow to my art. I need that focus to tackle this exhibition. I want you all to be involved." His smile returned, grounding her fears. "Let's do it! Art Day! I'll take the kids out while you create, and we'll take a family trip to the gallery when those pieces are ready." After lunch, Megan stepped back into her studio. The weight of her motherly responsibilities lightened. With fresh intent, she picked up the brush and allowed herself to immerse deeper into her creation. Would the pieces translate who she was? Could they carry the breadth of her experience, her chaos and her passion intertwined? As she dipped her brush into a vivid hue, a new idea struck her. Would she create a piece that captured the duality of her identity, mother and artist? It could be a bold gesture of merging those facets, a point where the curves of a child's innocence fused into the strokes of her adult complexity. But would the world outside interpret that complexity? Her heart raced with the implications of merging her vulnerability with her ambition. The colors on her palette seemed to beckon, tempting her to blend, to experiment, to push boundaries. Just as she began outlining her vision, the ping of her phone interrupted her flow once again. Another notification, but this time it wasn't about the exhibition. It was a message from someone she had long considered a rival in the art community. They were hosting a gallery networking event next week. A sense of dread washed over her. Was this an opportunity to network that could elevate her profile, or merely add to the chaotic pressure already bubbling within her? Megan took a deep breath and stared at the canvas before her. The stakes felt suspended in the air, each decision leading her closer to the heart of who she was becoming. What would she do? Would she forge connections that could elevate her career, or retreat back into the shadows of her insecurity, allowing apprehension to stifle her voice once more? The conflicting desires tightened around her as she poised herself for action. Megan stood before her canvas, the brush poised like a sword at the ready. The pressure of the upcoming event, mixed with the urgency of her artistic vision, was palpable. The vibrant colors on her palette called out, promising a deeper connection if only she surrendered fully to her creativity. Yet the notification from her rival lurked at the edge of her mind, an unwelcome reminder of the competitive landscape she was entrenched in. Contemplating the networking event, her thoughts spiraled into an internal debate. On one hand, the prospect of mingling with established artists felt intimidating, a blatant risk that could expose her vulnerabilities and insecurities to those she had long perceived as elitists. On the other, could it serve as a pivotal step in budding her career, perhaps even a platform showcasing her dual identity as both a mother and an artist? She took a step back, breathing in the scent of oil paint, grounding herself in the moment. What if she reframed the event in her mind as a chance not
Merely for networking, but for growth, an opportunity to confront her fears? After all, the women she had read about, the ones she now admired for their bravery, had done similarly. What if she approached this event as a learning experience, an arena to soak up knowledge rather than merely compete for recognition? With tentative resolution, she decided to immerse herself in this mindset. She felt a flicker of determination ignite within her. Megan sat down on the floor surrounded by brushes and canvases, arming herself for a week of creativity leading up to both the exhibition and the event. Each day would be a brushstroke toward her identity, a layer of color adding depth to her artistic expression. As she mapped out a plan for her upcoming artwork, she realized that each piece could animate the story of her duality. She envisioned her canvas as a place where her roles would collide, allowing her to visually communicate the friction and harmony that existed within her life. Her next piece would revolve around the themes of nurturing and creativity, interweaving chaotic brushstrokes that represented motherhood with soft, delicate touches that highlighted her artistry. It was a daring juxtaposition that could tell the story of her complex existence. The following days were a whirlwind of paint and inspiration. She woke up early, the sunlight draping across her studio like a warm blanket, and immersed herself in painting. Finding balance between her responsibilities as a mother and her artistic ambitions consumed every waking hour. Feeding the children breakfast, she found inspiration in their laughter, the colors of their cereal contrasting against the mundane backdrop of routine. Each night, after tucking her children into bed, she would return to her studio, channeling the frazzled warmth of motherhood into a chaotic dance of color and form. The canvases seemed to sing under her brush, as if they could feel her resolve. With each completed piece, she felt herself grow more confident. One evening, as she finished a swirling canvas depicting a mother cradling a child, Ben stepped into the studio, curiosity glimmering in his eyes. "Megan, this is incredible. You're really capturing something beautiful here." His encouragement enveloped her, dispelling lingering insecurities about her work. They discussed the emotional layers hidden in the strokes, and with each comment, she felt her confidence take root. Yet excitement gave way to anxiety as the networking event drew near. The day arrived, and Megan dressed carefully, balancing a sense of professionalism with artistic flair. Stepping into the gallery felt like stepping onto a stage, the air thick with expectation. She spotted her rival across the room, a poised presence exuding confidence, the kind of energy that set off alarm bells in her stomach. The urge to retreat clawed at her heart, but this time she steadied her breath, aligning her purpose with her ambition. She remained on the periphery for a moment, observing interactions and quietly absorbing the atmosphere of creativity. Engaging with fellow artists felt like navigating a labyrinth, each conversation a potential avenue to explore. As she steered into discussion, she challenged herself to share her story, to resist shying away from her experience. In that moment of truth, Megan chose authenticity over self-doubt. Would her narrative resonate, or would it crumble under the weight of comparison? The clock ticked ominously as she approached her rival, a flicker of courage igniting within her. The time had come to face not only her rival, but also the insecurities that had long held her back. What would happen when the layers of her story began to unravel in front of those who had seemed so intimidating? Would they see her for the artist she was striving to become, or would judgment cloud their perception? The stakes felt monumental, and with her heart racing, she prepared to take a leap of faith. Megan stood firm at the gallery entrance, the vibrant atmosphere of creativity washing over her like a warm tide. She had spent weeks crafting her art, and now here she was, poised to unite the fragments of her identity as both artist and mother, no longer shackled by the paralyzing fear that once defined her. As she moved through the room, heart pounding, she recalled the anxiety that had permeated her very being just a few weeks ago, when the thought of stepping foot in such a space had struck fear deep within her. Now, the lively discussions buzzing around her no longer echoed doubts, but felt invigorating. The stories of fellow artists reverberated with vulnerability and triumph, drawing her in. Megan spotted Jessica, the warm woman from the community center, who had first encouraged her to embrace her creative aspirations. She approached with an air of determined resolve. "I'm so glad to see you here," Jessica beamed. "Your artwork is incredible. It carries so much heart." "Thank you," Megan replied, her confidence swelling slightly. It was affirmations like these that fueled her journey. She had taken the plunge, decided to showcase her work, and in that moment she realized that she belonged here, among the pulse of artistry, not as an outsider gazing in, but as an active participant. As the evening unfolded, she mingled with other artists and attendees, sharing stories behind her pieces, tales that represented her journey of reconciling her roles. She spoke earnestly about her influences, her children's laughter inspiring vivid colors and whimsical forms. Each connection she forged unspooled barriers she had once clung to, and she felt lighter, liberated by the acceptance of her own vulnerability. Then there she was, her rival, elegantly poised amidst a cluster of admirers, drawing the attention that had once intimidated Megan. Taking a deep breath, she approached with renewed spirit. "Hey, I saw your work at the last show. It truly embodies your unique voice." The rival's smile was unexpectedly genuine. "Thanks, Megan. I appreciate that. Your pieces, too, have a beautiful luminosity. I can see the joy in them." A flicker of respect ignited between them, shattering the competitive tension that had hung in the air like a storm cloud. It was in this exchange that Megan truly felt her transformation reflected. What had once been a rivalry was now a shared space for growth and collaboration. As the night drew to a close, Megan looked around the gallery, absorbing the myriad of expressions that mirrored her own journey. Each person she spoke to had their own narrative, their own transformation echoing through their work, just as hers flourished through hers. That night, as she returned home, she reflected on the profound change she had undergone. No longer held captive by the walls of doubt, she had established her presence on multiple fronts.
The act of sharing her creations was not merely about showcasing her artistic side, it represented her step toward authenticity, a full embrace of her identity as both mother and artist. She walked into her home to find her children slumbering peacefully. Megan slipped into their room, enveloped in a rush of warmth and overwhelming gratitude. She saw glimpses of them in her artwork. Their innocence and creativity had breathed life into her own dormant passions. In that quiet moment, she felt an immense sense of achievement wash over her, a recognition that she had conquered not just her fears, but also her identity. She had demonstrated her capability to weave her roles inside and outside the home together into a rewarding tapestry of existence. As the dawn light seeped into the room, she made a vow to continue this journey, to foster her creative pursuits and inspire her children to nurture their own dreams. Megan smiled confidently, proud of her accomplishments and excited about the evolution that lay before her. This was her moment of triumph, not merely as an artist, but as a self-assured woman who decided to go after what fulfilled her. This realization sparked true purpose within her. She had transformed not just her art, but her entire understanding of her relationship with herself, her family, and her ambitions. Moving forward, she would embrace this newly crafted identity, engage with her art, and confront every challenge that came her way, firmly grounding herself in the belief that she was more than enough. Now it's your turn to dive deeper into your passion, to embrace your journey. Don't wait another moment. Subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach those who need inspiration. Comment below your reactions and theories about Megan's transformative journey. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion and understand the power of personal growth. You need to show your support. This is the moment.